All right, let's do live on a Tuesday edition of the program. Merely Beau and the Great Z. How you doing, buddy?
Scaramouche! The snow is still driving me crazy, and we've got evil, nasty Gibbe sending us pictures of sun and fun from Florida. Like, I'm happy for you, but don't rub it in while you're taking vacation. The players are back. I'm excited about that. The boys are back in town. We're getting ready. The 2022 season's about to go, and we're like, hey, how can we make the best impression on all these new faces, on the new pieces, on the returners? Let's have them walk through hail and snow and sleet and garbage.
Words, weather things that are made up like grapple. Just made stuff up. We don't know. That's not even a thing.
Not a
just
thing.
Made it up. Is there anything that you can think of in your life? You and I have a mutual adoration and love and support and take-caredness of Gibbe. And
totally.
That is completely a one-way street.
Unrequited.
Where he does, not only does he do very little to put us in a position to succeed, but also is chesty about our failures. It almost feels like for the last several years, which are rare, it feels like
if at all.
It almost feels like he revels in any sort of adversity you or I may have, and then is chesty about that. And this was another example of this morning. Like, I'm not going to, if I'm in a nice spot, I'm not going to stick it to you.
No.
That I'm in a nice spot. He can't wait to stick it to you.
The weird thing is, like, I'd be pumped for you. Like, hey, how's the Bahamas?
How's it going?
Having a great time. Live, great, awesome.
Thriving?
But I'm never not like, ha, 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 ha.
Suckers.
He's that guy.
That's what he is. It's amazing.
Like, you're dying due to hot sauce, and he's over your face.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's Gibbe.
That's Gibbe. Yucking it up.
It's
not the cold, it's the precipitation. That's where I'm at. I can deal with 38. I'm not crazy about it. I can deal with it. It's the rain and the snow and the grapple and the other nonsense.
Right. Give me 38 and high winds that dry the ground out so that we can play golf like civilized people.
When do you expect, as you were I was looking at an extended, when do you think there's going to be an opportunity for the ball on a drive to roll and not plug? Is it May? Is it the middle of May? Is it Memorial Day?
Brother, we're into June, my friend. I don't think carts are going to be off paths until June. I think we're into June. I mean, look at the 10-day. You have in the next 10 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the next 10 days have at least a 40% chance of precipitation. And you have a 90 in there on Thursday. It's going to rain all day Thursday. It's going to rain all day Monday, 75. And we're going to go. Here's the amazing thing is if you only lived here on Wednesdays, you'd be like, or a first Friday, as we like to call it. This Wednesday, 55 and sunny. Next Wednesday, 50 and sunny. And in between, you will get as high as 81 degrees.
Allegedly. Apparently that's happening this weekend, right? But it's going to rain.
And then we're back down to 50 by next Wednesday. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's not exactly going to dry out, Coach.
No.
You're going to be a mutter for a long time.
68% humidity currently. Just outrageous.
I mean, it was a straight-up blizzard this morning.
Connor, the official Nana says that there's no video. That's
not great.
Is that possible? She could be having technological issues, so we won't put that past her. We certainly believe in Connor, who, by the way, survived Connor with a K, who now every time I do a voiceover for him, I'm going to have a use provision in the contract. I did an unbelievable voiceover, got bumped.
A use provision?
Yeah, that's right.
How are you getting bumped?
Huh?
Who's saying this?
Who's saying what?
There's no video?
My Nana.
The official
My
Nana.
mom, the official Nana of the show. Is she wrong?
It is up right now. I'm looking at the video. She
Sorry,
might be
Nana.
talking about the monitor. There's no CBD logo on the monitor currently.
Oh, that could be.
That could be it. That could be it. But
I
I'm
need
not
clarification.
No, she's listening. I'm saying we're on. Sorry, Nana.
Sorry, Nana.
Hopefully get it worked out.
I apologize.
No, you're good. Connor, by the way, though, was almost struck by a snowball thrown by our great safety, John Johnson III. But
I like that type of jocularity. Probably in good spirit for 43.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Great
I like
spirits. That. Yeah. Connor's the first person
here.
What was it like
today?
To you? What was it like today? First,
it started off very calm. You know, it was no snow had fallen yet. It was a little chilly. It wasn't too bad, but I want to say maybe about 7:30, everything just started dropping, and it was a complete whiteout. So I mean, players got here safely. It was great to see the guys in the building, and just excited for the season to start. You know,
he is a big Cleveland guy. I don't know if you saw at the game against the Hawks. Our Connor was working the part of a heel. Not actually an Atlanta Hawks fan, but was the guy who they got, Maude would interview, and then he'd rip off his shirt and he'd have a Hawks jersey. I'd be like, I'm a Hawks fan.
Yep,
Go
Hawks. Sprayed by
Hawks.
popcorn, the whole works.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You were an actor?
I am.
Yeah.
You are an actor, and you were playing
acting
an
self-proclaimed, self-proclaimed actor.
Wow.
I thought it was brilliant.
Juilliard?
In Columbia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Very
Very
nice.
good.
Yeah.
So you were in a skit on
Yeah,
Friday?
I
Multiple.
would say it was an in-game
Multiple.
skit. Yeah.
In-game
Were you there?
entertainment.
How did you see all of it?
Because it went viral.
I
Wow.
posted on my Instagram story.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay. So that's viral?
yeah.
His
Of course.
Instagram is your worst.
you
It's
know,
viral.
300 plus followers.
I follow him on
I'm getting
social,
there.
man.
I'm
I
getting
follow him
there.
on social.
I think viral is, a little more than
Listen,
that, maybe.
he did such a good job,
Yeah.
okay, that at one point he went up to the bathroom, and 4 dudes were kind of giving him the business to the point where it was like uncomfortable, and he was like, this could get weird.
Just so
and he
you're
left.
aware, it's all a bunch of nonsense. Like, I'm not, they're paying me to be the heel.
Yeah, but he didn't even had time to get there. He's just like, I'm out.
Did you revel in being a heel? Did you enjoy it?
It was an interesting experience, that's for sure.
He was
Would
a
I do it
natural
again?
heel when we first brought him in, when he's
Well,
putting me
sure,
at the bottom of the
he-
rankings.
yeah.
I mean,
Well down
the
a
tier
ranking.
list.
yeah, but now he's in training.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
MTIT.
That's
Yeah.
right. Meal ticket and training. That's right.
Coined it.
That's right.
That's amazing that he was an actor. That's incredible.
Isn't it awesome?
I think that's
I think
great.
I would have had a blast
Yeah.
doing that.
Well, oh, it's pretty. Brown's therapy's on a high. He's coming out swinging right away. He's ready.
Did you see
Yeah.
a question that was posed to us, by the way?
Go ahead.
As we get into a little frivolity, and we're going to go through the defense today. We gave you the whole offensive rundown. We gave you the full defensive rundown. Some new pieces in place, by the way.
By the way, and also just for people who are saying, well, what's going on here? Not much.
Not much. I mean, they're back.
They're here,
and now they can.
but there's not much they can do. This is
Yeah.
this is the new off season. So this is lifting weights, some meetings,
yeah, some jumping, I bet.
probably
Box
some
jumps,
jumping, yeah, those
perhaps
type of
some
things.
running.
So yeah, there's
Yeah.
you're not missing 11 on 11 kids.
Oh no, we're
We're a long way from that.
yeah. If that starts at the last week, maybe the last week of May,
Right.
you might get your.
I
first
just wanted
OTA.
so people
Yeah.
knew. They're like, hey, you idiots! Like the team's here. Why aren't you telling us what's happening? Well, because nothing is. They're here,
They're
but that's
here.
it. That's really the extent
I'll
of it.
tell you what, there's little juice though. There's meetings going on. There's setting the tone for the season, baby.
I mean, there was juice seeing Watson, in the images with the snow coming down around him in a fantastic Gucci shirt. That was
Connor, can you confirm or deny that? I know that like in the meeting, like there's always like the one word for the year, and it's been work. But I heard this year it was Scaramouche.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Scaramouche. It's amazing. You just made up a word. It really is. I actually my foremost Italian friend. Because I have been doing a lot of quesadich to the
Yeah.
boys so they get home
Yeah.
from school.
Yeah.
I've been stealing that.
I was just bored by quesadich.
Well, I think it's fine. I think it's great that you made up your own word. I think
Yeah.
quesadich is fine. It's actually a phrase, and so I use it on the boys
It's actually a phrase.
as opposed to one made up. So I've been using it on the boys, and my wife has very little patience for it, and I think my oldest thinks that I'm an idiot. Bootsy loves it. He's a big
course,
fan.
he's
Of
eating it
course,
up.
he would love it.
Let's drop a Scaramouche on him.
Yeah, he
He's
loves
gonna
it.
go bonkers.
Yeah.
You want to go for a soak? Scaramouche.
There we go. Drop that. I think Beamsy's a fan. I think he's for it.
Yeah, I could see him for
He
it.
also was, by the way, Beamsy approved if I want to change his nickname to Kingsley. He has approved that. So I might work in a Kingsley on him.
Do it.
And make that happen. He's Beamsy because his name is Parker, and I named him secretly
Yes.
after Parker Beam, who
Yes.
was one of the guys who did Jim Beam Bourbon, and my wife's family didn't know about that. Neither did my wife. So that's why I call him Beamsy. But anyway.
I do like that.
So I asked one of my Italian buddies, is it okay? Like, I don't have any Italian blood. Is it all right if I
do.
drop?
I'm a quarter.
See, so you have no problem.
Nani from Sicily.
So I said, I go, is it all right if I drop a quesadilla? Or is that,
Is that
he
over
said,
the line?
If I crossed a line? He said, no, I think you're fine. He goes, you're fine. You're good.
What does he think about Frank Severo?
Big fan of Severo.
Did you watch the steak one?
Of course. I
How
watched it.
great was it?
Oh my God, it was incredible. I mean, just the whole thing. I love the fact that it's not that it is lost on him that he is charging people $100 to do the autographs and the photos at some dive bar where they
Well,
filmed
they are getting a cigar.
and they filmed at the place for
And a drink.
Goodfellas, for the restaurant, for the bar. But he's sitting here in front of a steak. He goes, having a nice steak. You're not going to get the ribeye like this up there, so I thought I would eat it here. Like,
and he was like searching for his words
he's
too.
Sticking
it took a while.
He's sticking it to the place where he's going to do the appearance.
Yeah, you're going to
But I
get a
said,
burger.
You're not going to get this type of food up there. That's why I'm eating here first.
And I got a nice glass of the vino.
And they're paying for. He brags that he had bought the whole bottle. Amazing.
Well, what else are we going to do?
What are you going to do?
What
Of course
are you
you're going to
gonna
buy the bottle.
All right, Sheldon.
So anyway.
Sheldon, not Richardson. Which is greater, Beau Bishop's fear of birds or Nathan Zegura's abhorrence towards hard-boiled eggs?
Equal, because it's funny that you say this, not Sheldon. Last week when I understood the full level of your hard-boiled egg situation, when I realized how deep that went and the cause for the trauma, and I have similar trauma with the birds. I actually was in there with the artist formerly known as Gibbe, and forever will now be Trader. When you said that you couldn't even be in the room with hard-boiled eggs, I said that would be similar. That's exactly what I said. If I walked in here and there were a bunch of like turkeys or vultures in the studio, like I could not physically handle it. I think it would be a straight panic. I think I would straight panic.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same. I think it's similar.
We'd run right on out of there. I mean, what about the day I sent you the pictures and I realized that these birds have feathers on their head, but outside the stadium there were a billion seagulls. How many? Like, remember we went to the stadium for the meeting last week? How many? Like, have you ever seen anything like that? I mean, it was
completely covered the parking lot from end to end.
End to end.
Like, it was completely covered.
Seagulls. Everywhere. First I was like, how's this parking lot white and floating? And then I realized it was because it was all seagulls. Like,
I mean, they're a pest, man.
If those seagulls, the amount of seagulls were there, had decided that even if me and Connor were walking through the
like
parking
if they
lot
got organized
and we're taking those dudes out, we'd have no chance.
Yeah, they could fly us away.
Fly us away. There
Oh
was a
God,
million
yes.
of them.
There's no question. The only thing that we have
like
going
those flying
for us,
monkeys in Wizard of Oz.
Exactly.
Scary.
pretty dicey.
Terrifying those things.
You know, we did that, right? Did we do the Wizard of Oz take? That movie sucks.
Here's
but
my
we
take.
just had to watch it. Oh, you're with me? Yeah,
Oh,
I knew it.
Of course.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Trash.
But you just had to watch it because you were a kid, because it was on every year. And this is what we do. We watch it. It sucks. The thing about the bird, the only thing we have going for us with the birds is that their brains are really small.
Bird brain. That's the term.
That's it.
Speaking of bird brain, my dog Asa must be a bird brain because this morning I wake up and go and get her, and we had moved her little sleeping area. It had been in the dining room, but we'd had people over, so we moved it to another room. But she still had her little bed and her little it's the same thing.
Same setup. Yep.
Totally same setup. I come out this morning, and there is just what I would call a pile/smear of dung, which was a shot across the bow, to the point where I had to get on my hands and knees. It stunk. Butter knife to scrape it out of the crevasses of the carpet, because it was
God.
It was a miserable. She was pissed.
Well, and she was at you for moving her bedroom. Like, not a fan.
I was so mad. So I let her know. I exchanged some pleasantries with her. I pick her up. She responds to me picking up because I said, "Look at what you've done.
Sure.
You can't do this." You put your nose in it. So then she proceeds to pee all over my arm
Oh
while I'm
my
holding
gosh,
her.
it's full on war.
So in the cage she goes.
Yep.
She's in the cage. I leave her, she's in there for a while because I was mad. Like, I was hot. This was a very.
We're past this.
It's about an hour.
She's not
we're
a puppy.
way past this.
We're long past this.
No, this was a shot.
Clearly.
It was
an
a
act
spite
of war,
poop.
I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
this
spite
was like
poop. I agree.
Latte Larry's.
Yep.
And it took, because as I said, it took me about an hour to clean up, because I'm literally there with the butter knife trying to get in and pop these things up onto a paper towel. I've got the Woolite. I've got all the pet spray. And it stinks.
Of course it does.
It's poop.
That's right.
So then she has the audacity to whine. I come over and say, you will be silent.
On deaf ears.
Go back. So I decided to finally let her out before I go, so I could be like, all right, So I'm like, are you sorry? Are you sorry for what you've done? We're sitting on the couch. I'm on the couch. She's next to me, like 2 cushions over. And I'm like, are you going to come here and give me a kiss and say you're sorry? I was like, so are you sorry?
Yeah.
And she was like this. Like, if she's looking. I was like, so does that mean you're sorry?
Defiant.
And she'd like let her eyes come and look at me, see if I'm still looking. Then she'll keep looking up there.
She said, "You did this.
Yeah.
You moved my house. You moved my bedroom without my say-so."
Outrageous level of response.
A lot of
retaliation
onions on the dog. Yeah, it is. They moved the bedroom without permission.
By the way,
That's where
moved
we're
it
at.
off of a hardwood floor onto a carpet.
Yeah, it doesn't view it that way. You moved the bedroom without permission.
Better spot, honestly. It's the room she likes to hang out in. Like, it literally everything about it should have been like right up her alley. Like, it could not have been better.
It was
for her.
not for it. How quickly does that butter knife go in the garbage?
It's all right.
Gone.
It might be in Timbuktu.
It's gone at this point.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you're someone who goes through that type of stuff and you find a butter knife, best let it lay.
Lick at your own peril. I'd stay away. I was hot, dude.
That's a lot going on. What age is Asa now?
Like 5 or 6.
Yeah, we're past all this.
And we
so
just
this was
had our
revenge.
good friends had unfortunately to put down R.I.P. Ollie, their dog, yesterday, 13 years old, and we're saying to Asa, like, yeah, stay healthy. We love you so much. Like,
Sure.
you're such a good dog.
She says, "Well, why'd you move my bedroom, Dad?"
And she goes
You
and
jerk.
drops a bomb on us. Unbelievable.
Not great.
Not great.
Not great. You want to
No.
know what is great? Now you tell me.
I was going to use that transition if you weren't. I had something to go to.
I had something ready for you. This
Let's
is
go.
great.
Big T
So there is a wing restaurant, primarily in the South. I don't know if there's any of them up here, that is named after an owl that is called Hooters. Okay.
Oh, God. Yeah, I've seen
So
this, of course.
you're aware of this,
Yeah,
right?
of
So
course.
all right. So
What am I
there
in?
is a
That's
there
a-
is a professional golfer historically that would have a particular affinity for this type of place and would be the perfect patron for this type of place. And now we have perhaps the greatest marriage of product
Yes.
and athlete
Yes.
in the history of sport. And I don't feel
I
like
don't
there's
feel
an
like that's
ounce of hyperbole.
No.
And I would say that there will also be a benefit now because this is now in a name, image, and likeness era.
Yes.
So John Daly's son
Little John.
signed Little John, who's a golfer at Arkansas.
Who's good.
Who's really good, signed a name, image, and likeness deal with Hooters.
That's right.
Find a better match. I dare you.
I mean, and the picture that they used to announce the partnership is outrageous. Everything about it is.
I couldn't be more thrilled by the whole operation.
And the funny thing was, somebody had just sent me a video on TikTok this morning of John Daly swigging a beer, putting the can down, being like, "You got to clean the foam off," putting a golf ball on it, and just absolutely crushing it right off the can without the can moving with the driver.
Still got it. And Little John. His name is Little John.
Little John.
Like
And it's an
Robin Hood's
ironic-
buddy.
Also an ironic
Like
Little
it.
John. Yes. 2 ironic Little
His
Johns.
name is Little John. What a job.
Yep.
All right. The guys are here. They aren't doing much. They're a little bit of working out, some meetings. That's kind of where you're at. It'll be a while before you have any sort of football activities. This is where you are in the new OTA world. And so that's where we are at this point. It was cool seeing them walking in. Soon, cool seeing on Cleveland Browns on the social channels the various players walking in. The Chief was not thrilled with the snow. It appeared he was not thrilled by it.
Well, I don't blame him
Right.
or really anybody who's had an issue with the snow because, frankly, I've got a big issue with the snow. We're not happy about it. I
No.
don't know why you would be happy about it. So it's very, very sad.
It
Very
is.
sad indeed.
It is very sad. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The John Daly thing, just
It's perfect.
unbelievable. It's
perfect.
absolutely perfect.
Before we go into this
ahead.
break, just a little bit of news, Browns news that we'll talk about, especially on the 2 guys up front. But the Browns have signed defensive tackle Sheldon Day and defensive end Stephen Weatherly. Additionally, Jamarcus Bradley and Michael Dunn have signed their tenders. We talked about Dunn and Bradley yesterday in the offensive line and receiver rooms, respectively. I love Sheldon Day, former 4th-round pick of the Jags. He was on the Browns and practice squad in 2020. 7 games last year, 21 tackles, 1 sack, had a great preseason. Just a steady guy. Was a starter on the Niners defensive line in that Super Bowl, played for them for Chris Kiffin. So I'm thrilled that he is back. And then the Browns also brought in defensive end Stephen Weatherly. And that's, look, you had 3 guys in each room.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Need some dudes.
He was a 7th-round pick by Minnesota in 2016. Oh, so obviously Stefanski and others on this staff are familiar with him. Out of Vanderbilt, 73 career games with the Vikings from 16 to 19 in 2021, Panthers and Broncos, 101 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Last year, 6 games with the Vikings, 9 with the Broncos, had 2.5 sacks. So a veteran guy on the defense that can play some of that end with you. So now you've got Miles, you've got Winovich, you've got Weatherly, and you have Curtis Weaver in that room as of today. And I don't think the Browns are done at either of those positions, but just nice, solid, steady veterans.
Good job out of you.
We'll go through out of Andrew Berry. Come on.
We'll go through the defensive room, start on the defensive front. We will do that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Authority can give you the bathroom of your dreams. Why not transform your current bathroom into a custom bath? You do so, it might just feel like a spa. If you use the Bath Authority, it probably will, and they can make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of competitors. The Bath Authority is our area's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert factory-trained installers. Give them a call now, $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. That number is 216-220-8399. They have the largest selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. Acrylic tubs that insulate, keep that heat in, tub to shower conversions, Superior Products expert installers. Again, that number is 216-220-8399. $500 off if you give them a call right now. Also, thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. As we continue our look at where we are heading into the draft week, which will be next week, and coming out of the first push of free agency, we will do the defensive side of the ball today. Did the offense yesterday. Encourage you to listen to that. If you missed that, it's all on the podcast. You'll be able to listen to where we are on that type of thing. So let's start on the defensive line, my friend. And this is something we've talked about a lot The defensive line is a priority, obviously, but also depth at defensive in the middle of the defense as well, and potentially even at 44 at defensive end.
Yeah, I think you look at these two positions, and it is I think that defensive end and interior of the defensive line, it would not surprise me if both positions are drafted. If you were to say, Nathan, do you think it is more likely that it would be an edge rusher at 44 than it would be a defensive tackle? I would say absolutely. I think I've made it pretty clear that I would be surprised that the Browns, and as many mocks have indicated, that the Browns would take a two-down defensive tackle at 44. I don't see that. However, if there is somebody that is a special talent.
I have enjoyed when the people that we consider among the smartest, and they are, when we have them on and they put that position at 44 and we say, well, wait a second, does this fit? Are we sure this fits? Then they acknowledge that it doesn't.
No.
But they're
doing it anyway.
Do it.
And so maybe Jones out of Connecticut is that special that they think having him would free up Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah because he would eat so many blockers that it would allow Koramoah to be more dynamic. So is it possible? Yes. Do I believe that it's likely? I don't. So I do think, though, an edge rusher at 44 feels pretty likely, or a wide receiver, but somewhere in there. Oh, the lovely Miss K. There she is. Love you, babe.
She's saying the heck with the cold.
Yes, she's just like, forget
it. I'm out of it.
State of mind.
State of mind. That's right. I almost wore my bucket hat. Remember our first year? We went out and got bucket hats. You did. You went and got them, or maybe we sent Stevie. Did we send Stevie to get us bucket hats?
The white? Are you talking about the white with like a kind of a pillowy?
Yeah. It's a nice bucket. It's probably my favorite one. I think we maybe sent Stevie.
I think
out.
I have it in the office here, as a matter of fact. Mine.
I almost put it on today just as a state of mind, but then I didn't know if luminaries would be here and go, "What the hell are you doing?"
It's great for keeping the snow off of your head.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
sorry,
anyway.
but yes, I do remember that.
Anyway, but I think that you're going to address this defensive line in this draft, and under this regime, you have addressed the defensive line, especially on the interior of it, in each of the two drafts under Andrew Berry, one in the 3rd round and one in the 4th round, Jordan Elliott and Tommy Togiai. So let's just take a look at the state of the defensive line, and this will be the position of greatest turnover on the defensive side of the roster. On the offensive side of the roster, obviously quarterback is a completely new room.
Yep.
And wide receiver will have significant turnover. Defensive line will have significant turnover as well. And so we start with the ends, the edge rushing positions. Myles Garrett, he's back. Franchise record, career-high 16 sacks last year, first-team All-Pro for the 2nd straight year, Pro Bowler for the 3rd time in his career and 2nd straight season, first Brown in team history record double-digit sacks in 4 straight seasons. He was Pro Football Focus' #1 graded edge defender, #1 pass rush grade in the NFL, #2 overall defensive grade in the NFL. In other words, he's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Scaramouche. Guy can play.
Scaramouche.
Now, we've got.
How'd you settle on that? Just what it sounded like in your head? It feels better to you?
It's what I thought he said from watching the video one time with you.
So you're just leading into it.
And then, I was just having fun. And then it's just people was getting a great response. So I'm like, why would I change it?
It's really the attitude.
Yeah. So, just so you know, Kazarich sounds a lot like my buddy. Kazarich.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like my buddy used to call Dan Gadzarich. Remember that guy?
Uh-huh. No.
That wasn't his name. Dan Gadzurek. He was yeah. But he would call him Gadzarich.
Gadzarich.
It sounded too similar to that to me, and that never took off for me like it did for him. So I felt like maybe the each it doesn't work as well as a Scaramouche.
Scaramouche.
Yeah, Scaramouche.
Scaramouche.
So I've been really enjoying it. Anyway.
I like it, yeah.
All right. Opposite Myles. Last year we had Clowney, and it feels like these are not scores, but it does feel like the longer it goes on, the better it is for the Browns. If somebody had jumped at him with the financial offer that was going to woo him from the Browns, I believe he would have taken that offer already.
Yeah.
That's just me. So the longer it goes on, I think the better for the Browns. You're still hearing, both camps are interested, a lot of mutual interest there. Look, Clowney was great last year. 9 sacks in 14 games, 11 tackles for loss, 19 quarterback hits. He was excellent against the run. I was a Pro Bowl alternate. I know that the Browns want to bring him back. I'm still hoping that he will be back. But if he's not, it's Garrett. It is, as of now, Chase Winovich, who the Browns brought in from New England in the trade for Mack Wilson, who had 11 sacks, 5.5 in each of his first 2 seasons, which would be perfect in that third pass rusher role that was occupied by Tack McKinley last year, who I thought was very good, but obviously he had the Achilles injury in Week 15, and so he's likely not ready, and who knows what his future holds. I'd love to have him back. Was a big fan of what Tack brought. But you think about the guys who played for the Browns last year. Clowney, still a free agent. Tack, injured free agent. Ifedi Odenigbo, free agent. Porter Gustin, 5-star free agent. The only other guy we've got from last year's roster to play defensive end, other than Miles from last year's team, is Curtis Weaver, who's on a reserve futures deal, made his debut against Cincy in Week 18. 6 snaps, he had 1 quarterback pressure. So Miles, and then a guy who played 6 snaps. Now, Winovich is a 3-year veteran in the league, former third-round pick.
Yeah.
And now you've brought in Stephen Weatherly, who I noted in the opening is a guy that comes in 7 years of experience, and that he's a guy that's going to give that. He's got some history here. He's got 8.5 career sacks. He started games. Is he the answer there? No, but he is certainly a valuable, reliable veteran. Like the Browns had Joe Jackson in that role for a time last year. Odenigbo was that way as well. So this is another guy like Odenigbo that Stefanski knew from Minnesota. They bring him in. And so now your room as it sits today is Garrett, Winovich, Weatherly, and Weaver. My guess is the longer this goes on, the more likely it is that Clowney comes back, because one of the things we'll talk about when we get to the corners is Denzel, his deal. That actually lowered his cap number for this year, providing more runway. And I think the Browns in their mind would love bring Clowney back, get the edge of the future in the second round because it's a loaded draft at that spot.
Yep.
And then you're going to be, cooking with gas, as we say.
Weaver was somebody who he's still here. You kept waiting for him to pop, and it hasn't happened yet. Every time that there's been opportunity to play, he's been passed over, whether it was by Porter Gustin a couple of years ago or Odenigbo, others who would jump past him, and you keep waiting for him to go, and it just hasn't happened yet.
No, but somebody that they like the progress that he made as the season went on. We talked about transforming his body, and a guy who was very productive at Boise State. I think this is the year, right? It's now or never for him in this room, because let's talk about the room for a second. And by the time we get to camp, you're going to have, my guess, 8 defensive ends here. We have 4 right now.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of competition. Miles is a lock. Winovich is feeling probably pretty in a good spot. I guess if we use an early draft pick, that would be in a good spot. And if we have Clowney, that's your 4 right there.
4, yeah.
Weatherly, Weaver would be a practice squad candidate. But you're going to have some more guys brought in here that at that spot. So highly competitive there. But Weaver's the guy that's going to have – this is going to be a big offseason for him to say, yes, I belong to stay in the program, or maybe he has a great camp. But, yeah, a big offseason for him. I think you're absolutely correct to note that. So that's the edges. Now as you go to the interior of the defensive line, Malik Jackson last year, 16 games, 646 snaps, most among defensive tackles. Free agent. Malik McDowell played 645 snaps, second most among defensive tackles. Free agent and off-field issues. So Jordan Elliott is here, third-round pick in 2020, played in 16 games last year, career-high 464 snaps, notched his first half of a sack against Baltimore. He had career highs in pressures with 10 and tackles with 26 this season. But you're talking about this guy needing to be one of your real dudes in year 3. We haven't seen that yet. Then you got Tommy Togiai, fourth-round pick from Ohio State, was on the practice squad and the active roster. Didn't get to the active roster, though, till Week 10 against New England. Appeared in 6 games, 125 snaps, 2 pressures, a half a sack, and 16 tackles. Working hard, but now, again, we're talking about, is he a guy that's going to have to start for you as it stands right now? And then you've brought in Taven Bryan, the former first-round pick out of Florida, who was with the Jags. It did not work out. Does he have a chance to resurrect his career? Yes, the traits are there, former first-round pick. And then the fourth guy is the very reliable Sheldon Day, 6-year veteran, 7 games last year, 233 snaps, a sack, 21 tackles, 11 quarterback pressures. I thought he did very, very well against Green Bay when he started on Christmas Day. He was actually the Browns' highest-graded defensive tackle in 2021 per Pro Football Focus. So now that room is Day, Bryan, Elliott, Togiai. 4 okay, but there is not one.
Not a dude.
Not yet.
Not traditionally.
Not
what
yet.
You would say traditionally.
Not yet.
As a dude.
And so that's why I think so many people have the Browns going defensive tackle in round 2. Do I think that happens again? No. Is it possible? Sure. But that is a room that I think there will be somebody added in the draft and also in free agency beyond what we've got already, because you're going to need 8 of those guys. We've always had 8 going into camp. So there could be an undrafted free agent in there as well. But there are going to be some additions to that room. These rooms are incomplete right now, and these are the only rooms on the roster outside of the receiver room where we're not totally sure, where we don't know what our opening day starting group looks like.
Yeah, and it could be as many as Miles and 3 new faces that aren't here right now. Very likely.
Well, right. Well, hopefully it's Miles and Clowney. Hopefully Clowney
well,
comes
right,
back.
but right now he's not.
As of now, it's Miles and 3 new faces, 3 new starters.
Yeah, so there's the biggest transition possible is here. This in receiver is certainly where it is.
Yep.
All right. By the way, I mean, that you just think about Malik. There's been so many things that have happened, and you think about, what happened with him and what we saw from him last year and thinking how that could have been such a positive thing. And who knows what happens going forward. But that was something you think, boy, bring it on back and run it back with him, and continues to resurrect his career, has the off field, and now we'll see where all of that shakes out.
Yeah.
But a lot needing to shake out in that room between now and August, very clearly, a lot of activity. And again, this is a reminder as we're going through these guys, how many things are left not done, or really, I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. Not just the draft, but still in free agency. We found that yesterday at receiver. We're finding that in the defensive line. Those positions are the ones that are most alarming. As for the linebacker position, we will get into that coming up next. Who's here? Do we expect to add to it? What could that look like by the time we get to camp? That is coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Advice out there about gambling, secret methods, picking lottery numbers, betting big when you're on a roll. The myths can lose you money and get you in a lot of trouble. So before you wager, find out what's real and what isn't at keepitfunohio.com. As we continue our look through the roster, as the guys reported here today to snowy Cleveland. It's snowing right now. It's still doing it.
Brother, it's a whiteout out there. It's wild. Nobody's prepared for this. Everybody's taking their snows off. Not me.
Leave them on.
Not me. Left to my side. I'm not taking mine off till May anymore. We can't do it.
June,
Can't trust it.
June 17th. Better on the mic, The Rock or Ric Flair? Are they the two best? Clearly, right?
I mean, my Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling talkers would be, and I love that you just came. I don't even know where this came from, but I love it.
I'll tell you in a second.
Rock, Flair, the Macho Man. The Macho Man was incredible.
He really was.
Incredible.
Stone Cold in a he wasn't
In
the
a
long.
different
It was a
way.
very different way.
Yeah, like those three are probably my top three. Other names are just flooding into my mind. Like I thought Chris Jericho's always been a great talker. My good friend The Miz, tremendous talker.
Tremendous talker, yeah.
But yeah, that's the top three.
Somebody put me on to a no context Flair
Oh, it's great.
on Twitter that I hadn't seen. I don't know how it got. I'm starting to get all this stuff. Like Twitter's now pushing stuff my way. I don't remember it doing
Good.
that before.
You're welcome.
But now it's pushing stuff. Maybe it's you. Maybe you are pushing. You're being pushed my way, and so things you like. Do you follow No Context Flair?
Yeah.
Okay. So somehow this shows up. No Context Flair shows
Rock
up.
promo is a great one to follow.
And I spent last night. I was as the Amy went to bed early, and so the boys. I was up, and I was kind of flipping through, and it popped up, and I was watching them. Like every one of these he's smoking them.
Oh yeah.
He's just killing it, and it's a different because Laurinaitis was telling me that in those days it was put on the camera and make something up.
It wasn't
like,
scripted. It was
wasn't
like, all right, you
scripted.
have to set up your fight with this guy.
You got to go from here to here.
Yep.
We need you to start here and get here,
Maybe
but how you
hit
get
this,
there,
hit that, but you
it's
do
up
the
to
rest.
you.
Yeah.
This is an
which is
unscripted
way
thing.
better.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when his dad was with when they were the Road Warriors or Legion of Doom, like that's what they tell him Hawk, and then Hawk would finish, and that was it. And then Rock changed everything because he was so good at it that everybody said, well, we got to script it so that we can be this good.
But the scripting it, you can't be as
You
good.
can't.
It has to be real.
Yeah. So Rock is the best with that in the scripting part of it. Clearly, like they're theatrical. It's stunning.
Yeah, he's great.
Gift. But Flair is remarkable from the standpoint of the way that he just absolutely annihilates people off the cuff, like people in the stands and stuff.
Oh, Paul Heyman would be the other. Paul Heyman would be if I needed a fourth on Mount Rushmore. He's the fourth greatest promo, even though he's a manager.
Yeah,
the best,
and
he's great at that. Like they'll be after shows if a fan gives him the business, he'll just eviscerate them.
Right. Yeah.
You're bringing a knife to a gunfight, my friends.
I like it. I thought that was good. So that got the no context Flair got into my world.
There's a no context Dusty as well, where some great Dusty Rhodes quotes.
Does he have it? He is really funny, but so I was not. I don't remember him as anything other than when he got to WWF and he was like that, which is a shame. In retrospect, now that I see what he was before,
never watch anything he did in WWE. It's a disgrace what they did to him.
Really,
watch
is.
everything before.
Wonder why they thought to do that.
Because Vince is petty, so he was a star without Vince. So Vince thought it'd be funny to turn him into a comedy guy.
Oh, really? That's what that's about?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, I wasn't. Again, that was.
He was in the polka dots.
He was in that ridiculous black and yellow polka dots dancing around.
Sapphire. It was ludicrous.
It really was. It really was.
Despicable.
Now, is this his kid who's big now?
Cody Rhodes, yeah, huge. The American Nightmare, not the American Dream.
So he came in and saved.
He just came back. He was gone for a while. He started AEW. Was one of the central guys there, and then now he's back and he's bigger than ever. And could not be a nicer guy. Like he was at Broski's wedding. Until we got to hang out with him a little bit in Vegas at New Year's. Cody Rhodes is one of the nicest human beings you'll ever want to meet. Like, super nice.
That's cool.
Super engaging, cares about what you're doing, your conversations. And I've met him, basically I'd see him a couple times a year, every year. But like it's not like we were boys. But he has it all right there, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Very nice guy. Wish him a lot of success. I think he's
Are there two? Does Dusty have two kids?
Yeah. And then the other one was Gold Dust.
Oh, that's right.
Got a little sideways.
What was Vince doing?
You got a little sideways. That was all his idea. That was all.
What was Vince doing in that era?
Yeah, I think it was pushing the envelope.
Really was.
There was stuff that Gold Dust wanted to do that never happened. That it's
probably a good idea.
It did not happen. Yeah.
Is he still wrestling? That guy?
He's in AEW. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Linebackers.
And from there, we get to linebackers.
Well,
all
they're
right.
kind of like wrestlers in some ways.
Yeah.
Some great personalities.
Sure.
I'm wondering also if I need to push this for Bootsy, if he'd be a good professional wrestler, if I could get his physique in order.
There's no doubt
that his personality would.
At least he'll be a manager. He could be a manager.
Yeah. And I feel like he could play heel and face. He could play both.
Maybe he'll be a commentator.
There you go. It's in play.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Be a good future for him.
All right. Linebacking core, this is going to return for the most part intact. Of your top 4 guys a year ago, you're going to bring back 3, but one who would have been in your top 4 were it not for an injury. We're talking with Anthony Walker Jr. back with the Browns, led the Browns with 113 tackles in 13 games, led all linebackers with 701 snaps played. He's averaging nearly 109 tackles per season the last 4 years. He had a couple passes defense, couple tackles for loss, a sack, tremendous leader. He was the number 3 coverage linebacker according to Pro Football Focus last year. He made big strides in that area, and that's huge. That's a big deal. But he's an outstanding leader. He talked to Jason Tarver, the Browns linebacker coach, about him. Outstanding leader, incredible work ethic, great mentor and role model, zero complacency. They absolutely love him. He is back. And so he's your Mike linebacker. Your Will is going to be J.O.K., the second-round pick out of Notre Dame, was the Browns' 3rd highest-graded defender at Pro Football Focus last year, behind only Miles and Denzel Ward. The 5th highest-graded rookie defender at Pro Football Focus, made numerous all-rookie teams. 76 tackles, 4 passes defense, 2 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and played 597 snaps. I think he is a star in the making. His speed, his just playmaking skills, incredible. And so if there is one school of thought, well, why would they get a big guy in the middle of this defense? It's to occupy blockers, keep JOK clean so he can make more plays. Can that be accomplished in parts of the draft other than the second round? I believe so.
Yeah.
But if the guy in the second round's that good, maybe it's possible. But again, we think not likely. So those are your top 2. You bring back Sione Takitaki, was your starting Sam last year, 285 snaps, 4th most linebackers, core special teams guy. He had 44 tackles in 15 games, career-high 5 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. He is in the last year of his rookie contract, former 3rd-round pick out of BYU. So that's the top 3 that was your top 3 last year. They're all back. Mack Wilson has been traded. And then there's Malcolm Smith, unrestricted free agent, the 10-year veteran, former Super Bowl MVP. He's been with the Browns each of the last 2 years. Would not surprise me to see him get added, as we get closer to camp again on a 1-year deal. Last year, played the 3rd most snaps of anybody at linebacker, 425, 51 tackles, 5 passes defense, 2 interceptions, which led the linebackers. So he knows this defense. He knows how to play in this defense, and it would not surprise me at all to see Malcolm Smith back with the Browns when it all shakes out. But same time, this is a good room, and one of the guys they're counting on to do a lot more is Jacob Phillips, the 3rd-round pick in 2020 from LSU. He has missed a lot of each of his first 2 seasons due to injury, but he's a long and fast linebacker. He's flashed whenever he plays. Last year, 4 games, 123 snaps, 17 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for losses, and 3 passes defense. In his only start, which was Week 18 against Cincinnati, 8 tackles, 1 sack, 1 PBU. In his only start of his rookie year, he had double-digit tackles in the game that clinched the playoff berth against the Steelers. So he could be the Mike of the future. He has got to stay healthy. That is the biggest thing. He's got all the ability. They need his availability. Elijah Lee, who's been a core special teams player, he's an unrestricted free agent. Also back, though, is Tony Fields, last year's 5th-round pick from West Virginia. He appeared in 10 games on teams, no defensive snaps, but he's a guy that, maybe he grows into a role and he does what Malcolm Smith did for you a year before while taking on a bigger special teams role for this team. And also here in the group, you've got Willie Harvey, who appeared in 2 games with the Browns in 2021, playing exclusively on special teams. He was with the Browns in 2019, active for a few games, and was on that reserve futures deal. So that's what you're looking at kind of right now in that linebacker room. And then I'm trying to see, I think Montrell is back with us right now. Not. So that's what you're looking at. He's an exclusive rights free agent that the team could opt to bring back should they want to at this juncture. They have not. But that's where you're looking in that linebacker room. Starters are all back from a year ago. The question right now for you is, can Jacob Phillips take that next step? You currently have 5 here in Walker, Owusu-Koramoah, Phillips, Taki, Willie Harvey Jr., and is that 6? No, 1, 2, 3.
5, right?
6. Fields, Harvey, Owusu-Koramoah, Phillips, Taki, Walker. We're likely to carry 6. You're going to need more bodies in here for camp, obviously, or we'll carry 5. But you need those guys on special teams. But your top 3 are back. Phillips is expected to take a leap. And then you want to see what you got out of Tony Fields, last year's 5th rounder.
Bunch of really good football players and one who could be a superstar in JOK.
JOK absolutely could be a superstar.
It was a rocket ship of a rookie season. It felt that way when we drafted him, and then he went and played to that level on the field. And it was one of those things where when he was dropping in the draft, people were going, why is he drop? What is the deal? What's the problem? And thank God he did. Lands in our lap, and now he's here and looks to be the part of a super-duper star. And you think about the idea of with Denzel locked up, and you think about the youth with Newsome and JOK and Miles and Denzel and all of those guys being able to grow together, and there's others as well at the safety position with Delpit and Johnson and all that, to be able to all grow together at the same age and to now all be familiar with what you're trying to do defensively. You get that sorted out on the defensive front. Everything in the back end is pretty well known.
And let's not forget, we're a team that's going to play predominantly 2 linebackers on the field. And at times, 1 linebacker on the field when we're going to play some of that dime defense that we do where we'll go 3 corners, 3 safeties as well, 1 linebacker, and then your 4 guys rushing the passer. So not a heavy position, but one that's very important. But you're right, as you get these young guys in, staying in the same system. You know, Phillips has played in the same system for the entirety of his career, even though he has been injured. Walker will be his 2nd year in the system. Taki's 3rd year in this system. Owusu-Koramoah, 2nd year in the system, the entirety of his career. Same with Fields. So these guys have that, which I like that for them. I think that's an important thing for the Cleveland Browns and their growth. One thing that I don't like comes from Mr. Tom Baum, and I have been I think Tom Baum's had some nice things to say in the past, but today he gets it totally wrong, and it's sad. It's sad for him. If I could thumbs down, that's what they need. They need a thumbs down button on Twitter.
I like that too. I'm for that.
On your tweet, he said, as much as Beau Bishop and Nathan Zegura don't want to hear it, Browns Daily needs heel Gibbe to conk these 2 knuckleheads every time they go into the butchered Italian phrases. It's the audio equivalent of egg salad sandwiches. I mean, this is what I wrote back. I said, boo. And more like, boo. It's not a butchered phrase. It's completely
made up. It's your phrase.
Enjoy it, Tom Baum. Yeah. It's not butchered. It's made up.
Oh, my gosh. Browns Therapy has me as Elf throwing snowballs at Gibbe with Connor laughing, Connor with the K laughing in the background.
Wait, Browns Therapy's gotten a hold of Connor?
Yes, he does.
Let's go. Quarter zip.
A nice khaki pant, a light
suede
cream.
Look like a suede.
Look like a suede shoe.
Suede
ends with a vowel for sure.
No doubt.
There's no question.
Connor. I'm not seeing that. Maybe I gotta.
It's unreal. It's me as Elf throwing snowballs at Gibbe with Connor with a K laughing behind me on Browns Therapy. It's elite.
Get a photo of me.
You asked the question. He knows the answer.
He's Browns Therapy.
Apparently.
That's how. Yep. I mean, he found Stevie. Intern Stevie. He found his image.
Yeah, he found our intern.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, here it is. Oh, man, you're right there supplying him.
Supplying
the snowballs.
Really quite good.
Like, what was the kid's name? Mikey? Little Mikey.
Good. That is so good. Oh, boy. All right. Lots of good stuff. Coming up, we will go around the league. Second hour of the program, we'll get into the back end of our defense, our corners, our safety rooms. That's coming up next. Before I do that, though, I want to tell you about OBM. OBM is Ohio Business Machine.
That's right.
Copy provider of your Cleveland Browns. They have all the X's and O's for your office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com, and they will take care of you. Second hour coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, we'll continue through our look at our defensive roster here, get into the specialists as well. We did not do that yesterday. I was watching the most recent episode of Winning Time last night, in between that and No Context Flare, which was a big hit. I know you're not all the way cut up, but you have been. You're watching some of it.
Yeah, I think I'm 3 in. And how many are you in? I think
this was
like
probably
6.
This was probably the 7th.
6 or something.
I would
so
say
I could get caught up.
This was the first trip to. They did the first trip to Boston.
Okay.
So this was Larry Bird has now been introduced.
Can I just say because I saw a clip of how can they do that?
So
I realized he wasn't a handsome man and he wasn't
he was
the
not
most athletic looking dude, but he was also 6'9".
Well, they can't do anything with that.
You find a dude who's 6'9".
Well, no, you can't because the guy playing Magic, you can't. There's nobody who's charismatic as Magic who's 6'9" as well. Like the actor they cast as Magic is not 6'9".
How tall is he?
My guess is he's like 6'2".
He looks kind of tall.
Well, but they also got the guy. There's not a 7-footer. The guy who's playing Kareem.
There are. These people are on the planet.
No, they're not.
You find them.
Not that charismatic. Not the connection.
I would have had my buddy. I have a buddy, Minister Box, 6'6". I would have had him play Larry Bird. I'd have had Jimmy Boland, my buddy, who's 6'7", walked on at BC. He could have played Larry Bird better than this guy. This guy
actually did a pretty good job of with the mannerisms. Quincy Isaiah is 6'3".
All right,
so that's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
So they've cast everybody as small because they make Magic actually look tall.
Yeah. So but if he's, I mean, if the actor's 6'3" and everybody else is 5'10", 5'11", then you can buy that Norm Nixon is 6'2". That looks like there's that much of a disparity.
Sure.
It feels like they're hitting it pretty good on that. I actually think from a casting standpoint, when you're casting people who are so known, they've probably done pretty well.
You mean to tell me there aren't guys? Come on. You mean to tell me there aren't guys that aren't in the G League or a development?
Yeah, but you don't care about
playing
that
in
because
Europe.
You're thinking that from our perspective, worried about the basketball part of it. The vast majority of people that they're trying to get to this aren't people. You and I will put up with the basketball not being great,
but I think there are a lot of charismatic athletes that could act.
I don't know if they act.
If you bring in 100 dudes who are 6'9" that can,
but you don't want 6'9" because he's got to be 6'3" because the kid who they cast as Magic is really good.
No, but I'm saying no. I'm saying to just have that person be Magic.
You're saying find some.
Yes,
because the guy who they cast kind of looks like young Magic, and he behaves a lot like young Magic. He's got the smile down, the laugh down. There's a lot of it.
He's at church. They're laying hands on him.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think that that they did a pretty decent job. Either way, so it's the first time they went to Boston, and so you get that, which was fine. But the reason I was bringing this up is this was the first one where I felt like they kind of hit this last episode, where it was actually interesting what was happening with Magic and Kareem in that world. Connor with the K shaking his head. This was
100%.
the first one where I was like, oh, this is what they were building towards. There was some. It was kind of like, oh, now I'm interested in this storyline because before it didn't seem like they fought for the team, blah blah blah. This was the first one where I felt like they did that. But again, the overwhelming reason you're watching this, or at least that I find most interesting, is the Jerry Bust John C. Reilly character.
He's the best.
That's the best.
He's the best.
And if I was thinking because I saw that this was renewed for a second season, and I don't know how they're going to play this out. Because are they going to go all the way to the HIV announcement?
Yes, don't you think?
If they can, but I don't know that all of that's going to be that interesting. Because what's making this interesting right now is there are a lot of things that aren't going their way that a lot of people didn't know. But once they get through this rough stretch, and by the way, feel like I'm not giving a spoiler here, they win the championship.
It's mashed potatoes and gravy, Marie, after that, yeah.
Then it's all win-win. All we do is win-win-win no matter what for the rest of the 80s.
Sure.
And Bus becomes incredibly wealthy. There aren't a lot of things that don't go his way down the stretch for the next decade. So I don't know how interesting that will be. So I was thinking about the what would make the perfect in sport, and it's very clearly Jerry Jones. It's the purchase of the Cowboys for $150 million. It's the firing of Tom Landry. It's the hiring of Jimmy Johnson. It's people saying college guys can't do it.
And then Barry Switzer.
And then Switzer, and then everything else. I mean, that's the one, isn't it? That's the one that would have enough to it and enough of an iconic brand that would cross over a little bit.
Yes. Agreed.
But it's the ownership part of it that makes it interesting. That's where the
you
intrigue
take
is.
John C. Reilly off that show, I'm not watching it anymore.
Agreed.
Through 3 episodes.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a chance.
They crushed it. And by the way, there was a huge falling out between Adam McKay and Will Ferrell about this because Ferrell wanted to play Bus. Did you hear about this? Like, they don't even talk anymore. So McKay and Ferrell worked together for years.
Yeah.
Ferrell wanted to play Jerry Buss.
Well, he would have been fine.
McKay, I don't think he has the depth to play the dramatic side. You're not far enough in to see what's coming from a dramatic side standpoint.
I mean, so far we're
all
Ashley
frivolity.
Schaefer BMW,
right?
Having
But
the time of our lives.
But more to come.
Will Ferrell, hold on a second now.
I don't think he's got the range to play Bus.
What was that movie he was just in with maybe Connor will have this at the ready. The movie that he was just in where isn't Paul Rudd like his therapist and takes advantage of him? It's based on a true story.
I didn't see it.
You know,
to me, he's Ashley Schaefer. I mean, he's Anchorman.
He's got no.
I don't know if he's got the chops to play a Bus.
It was called The Shrink Next Door. Very serious, and he's serious, and he shows a lot of chops. Miss K was a big fan of it.
The other guy who did it was the other guy who tried to for the part of Bus was Michael Shannon, who was like the creepy Fed in, remember that show on HBO, Boardwalk Empire?
Mm-hmm.
That guy. Like, they got it right with Riley. That's the right actor.
That guy, Michael Shannon, my favorite role of Michael Shannon is from The Night Before. He plays like a dealer. He's very good in it.
It's Jerry. That's the one. Jerry in Dallas in 88, 89.
Who would you want to play Jerry Jones?
Oh, my gosh.
I also think Adrian Brody's a tough cast because he's just Adrian Brody.
He agreed. In the most recent episode, you finally see this is who becomes Pat Riley. Like, they underwhelmed on early Riley, and now he's more involved.
Like, did he really chop his house down?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, a lot. I mean, they literally introduced Bird with the song they introduced Bird that's playing behind Bird is something like, it's either like Here Comes the Devil or Here Comes Satan. Like, it's something like that. Like, they played it that way. Like, that's how they're playing everything to an 11. So they lean
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm enjoying it.
Who would you have play Jerry? Do you have somebody at the ready?
No.
That could play that role?
Mm-mm.
That's the one, though.
Maybe
the firing of Landry. Imagine that.
Maybe presidential era Bill Clinton could have played him.
Maybe. I do like the idea that you think actors and politicians or athletes and politicians can easily slide
Not
into
all
acting.
of them.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we're putting out a casting call for a 6'9".
I don't think you want it, but you don't want to
player.
do that because then you got to cast everybody 6'9", 7 foot.
Fine.
It's too hard.
They're all over the place.
No, they're not. How many 6'9" dudes you know in your life personally?
No personally?
That aren't athletes.
Well, that's why we're casting. That's why we're interviewing athletes.
No, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're saying they're everywhere. I don't think they are.
A baker's dozen?
13 guys 6'9"?
Probably.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, yeah, at my high school, there were 3 of them just at my high school. Went to college with a few of them. I've met a few through the world, around town, out and about.
I don't think I socialize with one. I love it. I love it.
Am I at the top of your socialization?
My brother's the same height you are. You'd be at the top. Yeah. I don't. There's nobody.
Just got
one other buddy, who's 6'5".
All right.
Yeah, that's it though. Do you socialize with people taller than you, other than Gibbe?
Minister Box. Minister Box is a little taller than I am.
Is he really?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I always had him shorter
6'6".
without meeting him. I always thought he would be shorter.
Tall man. Great.
Do the special teams. The people are dying for it. They are. They can't wait.
Oh, boy. All right. Back. Long snapper.
Meantime,
Charlie Hewlett.
I'm going to find an actor to play Jerry Jones.
All right. 8 years out of Central Florida. Steady as they come. In tremendous condition. I've seen him in there. We've got a couple of punters on the roster right now. Corey Bajorquez, who recently has kicked in the league. Joseph Charlton as well. Bajorquez hitting some bombs. Had one of the longest gross averages in the league. Charlton. And then kicker, I think, is still kind of wide open. Chase McLaughlin, who kicked for us last year, he is back, signed a 1-year deal, but I expect competition to be added for Chase McLaughlin. Chris, you blew it, boy, also still on the roster as of today for the Browns, so a couple kickers there. Return game, it's easy. Jakeem Grant, Jakeem the Dream, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, 6 return touchdowns in his career. He scored a return touchdown in 4 straight seasons with 2 different teams, Miami, with the Bears, and now he comes here and I think adds a lot of juice in that return game for us. So I think we will have our best return game. We're one of the best coverage units in the league under Mike Prefer and have been just about every single year, so I expect that to continue. We got a punter who can put some boom in it. That's great. We've got to get this kicking thing sorted out, and I think that this is the issue that they have right now. This is the issue is, can we get a kicker that can compete with Justin Tucker, with Evan McPherson, and with Chris Boswell, just in our division, but 2 of the best in the game right now are Tucker and McPherson.
We've got to find an actor to do that role.
That would be a great one. That would be a great one. Somebody, Jeremy in Akron says John Voight, but I don't know if
it's too old
at this point, because you got to have somebody
point.
that can be.
Yeah, you're playing. You got to remember you're paying. I'm interested in coming out of the oil fields, buying the Cowboys, firing Landry. I'm talking 88, 89 Jerry.
Tommy Lee Jones?
Too old, too.
Too old? You think so?
Too old, too. He's got to be approaching. He's got to be mid.
I think it's
yeah. You got to find somebody who's in his 40s to play young Jerry. You're talking 35 years ago.
Oh, man. McConaughey.
Too smooth.
No, he could. Come on.
I'll tell you,
he can do anything.
No.
True Detective? Did you see True Detective? He could do anything.
I don't think he could. I think he plays the same guy always. I'll tell you, the guy who could do it is DiCaprio. DiCaprio could do it, but he's not going to do a series. But he could do it. DiCaprio could 100% do young Jerry. Yeah. DiCaprio.
Come on, let him at least audition. You're right. I think you're right.
He's got all the charisma in the world, but I think he's kind of always playing the same note.
I think you're writing him off way too fast.
Yeah, DiCaprio's the answer.
Because he's got the southernness to him. That's part of it.
DiCaprio can do an accent. So, just so we're all clear, your idea is we find athletes who are 6'9" and try to make them actors. You feel like McConaughey, from an acting range standpoint, is greater than DiCaprio because he has a southern essence to him that already exists.
You watched True Detective season 1?
I did. Yeah,
okay.
It was good.
That's a completely different character than the cool guy that he plays in every.
It's just muted. It's really muted, pensive version. I mean, yeah,
dark. There's some darkness.
He's great in it. There's no question he's great. But the vast majority of him is kind of the same.
Don't you think young Jerry is smooth and having the time of his life?
That's why I think it's DiCaprio. DiCaprio can do that.
McConaughey can't do that.
Not like DiCaprio. He's not the actor. Doesn't have the range. I don't think. Plus, I don't think he looks like Jerry at all. Where DiCaprio kind of does. Young Jerry.
I need to see a picture of young Jerry before I can sign off on this. I mean, DiCaprio's great. Of course he is.
Yeah, like look at young Jerry. Young Jerry Jones. Like at the time of purchase. Yeah, this isn't that far. That's not that far of a stretch for DiCaprio. Lot closer than McConaughey. McConaughey's too dang good looking. He's way too good looking.
DiCaprio's not good looking.
He's not as good look. Not like McConaughey.
Oh boy, I don't.
Yeah,
we've gone off the rails.
The rails are long gone, buddy. All right, we'll do. We're doing safeties. We'll do corners. We'll do both of the defensive positions on the back side of things, and these are really, really strong rooms over the course of and not just for now, but for the future as well. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Your business is shopping for an enterprise operating systems partner, but you don't know where to begin. Well, I can tell you where to begin. My friends at EOX Vantage. They're data scientists, also business operations experts. Your EOX Vantage team not only builds and installs your system, they act as ongoing tech support. So you're having a continuous improvement and support system. EOX Vantage is not tied to any single brand or hardware or software. You're getting a truly customized, purpose-built solution along with a partner that will answer only to you. And EOX Vantage does not outsource. All the operational expertise, proprietary solutions, and tech support come from one unified partner. See how companies have profited from hiring one fully objective operating systems partner at eoxvantage.com. Yes?
All right, we got a couple. We got Jerry Nacker, Christian Bale. Darren Carpenter says Bradley Cooper, but we've nixed him. Billy Bob Thornton, absolutely not.
Too old.
Mark Fry. Tell Beau every college basketball team has a dude who's 6'9", and McConaughey is clearly the answer. Beau needs to eat his Wheaties. Dang, burn.
Every college basketball team? Yes, they do. Can they all act? Whoever tweeted
We
me
only
that?
need to find one.
We need to find one who can act and front an HBO series. Like, jeez.
Why do you think?
This is back to your drillers versus astronauts.
I think you're a heightist.
I'm not a heightist.
You're
I just think
making it
if I'm
sound
producing,
preposterous that
I
a
think it
6'9"
is.
person could act.
Because you're what you guys are missing is you're not just casting one. You have to cast a dozen who can act. You have to cast a dozen guys
There's only
who
a
can act.
couple that really need to act.
No,
Him,
that's not
Kareem.
true. Because then you got to have Jerry West has got to cast. You have to cast somebody 6'6" who's Jerry West. You got to cast somebody for the
I
entire
hated the guy
roster.
that was Jerry West, so I think he stinks.
Okay, but you still have to find a bunch of guys that height. You're missing
John
that.
Barry would have been a perfect Jerry West. He's 6'4", 6'5".
John Barry?
Yeah. Put a wig on him. Put
Oh
that
my
wig on him.
God.
John Barry'd be killing it.
Like the kid who played at Georgia Tech?
Yeah. He's a professional talker now.
Uh-huh.
He could have done it.
Sure. Yeah, he'd be the one. That's sorted out.
There it is. Next. All right.
What else do you have?
James the Rigger, I think this is pretty good. He says, what about Daniel Craig as a young Jerry Jones? Head shape very similar, but he'd have to be able to go Southern.
Could he go Southern? Yeah, I mean, he would definitely have like the devilish charisma that Jera has.
Yeah.
If he could do a Southern accent, that would be a good one.
Oh, man, this guy's great. T. Gasorti, the Taylor Watson gang legend, he goes, which would be harder, finding 6'9" athletes and making them actors or finding deep core drillers?
Someone's paid attention to the show.
Yes, bravo. You win. Winner. He wins.
Yeah, that wins.
Brown's therapy. I agree with Zegura on this. McConaughey could definitely play Jerry Jones in the Cowboys movie. He's got great range as an actor.
Look at how handsome he is in the GIF he put up. Like, that is too handsome to play Jera. It's too much.
I believe the word you used earlier was stunning.
He is. I saw him start the Daytona 500 like 15 years ago, and he did the all right. Gentlemen, start your engines.
All right.
I went, well,
okay.
You got to just tip your hat and say, good job. I mean, what are you going to do?
So, according to the NFL on CBS,
okay,
and a slow NFL news day, although we're very excited, the guys are back. We're going to talk about our secondary second. Ben McAdoo, the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, was doing an availability.
Okay.
He was asked if Sam Darnold is their starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He answers, and I quote, Sam is our starting quarterback, yes, end quote. 1 minute and 37 seconds later, he's asked another question about Sam Darnold and being the starter, and he goes, that wasn't something I should have said.
Let me grab the audio. I can find it.
It's on NFL on CBS's Twitter.
So somebody said, "Why did you?" Someone clearly motioned to him.
Or maybe he got slid a note. You know when you get the note.
So that whoever was
I got
trying
it.
to. All right, go ahead.
All right, let's hear it.
And you look at Sam as your starting quarterback?
Sam is our starting quarterback, yes.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
You know, one of the things I've been working on is being better talking to you people. So, you know, announcing the starting quarterback here, I just put my foot in the mouth. So that wasn't something I should have said.
And you look at
So did his phone blow up? Like was he zapped? Did they have like a zapper on him?
That man went through an interview process, and the New York Football Giants said, "Yep, that's our man.
That's our dude.
That's our guy." Like he was in New York.
McAdoo, Macadon't.
How were you not like prepared?
Maybe he dropped a Scout-a-mooch on him, and they said, "We gotta have you in New York.
Gotta have you."
Oh
my God.
That's incredible. So
Oh,
I'm curious.
amazing.
I'd like the behind the scenes on that. Was it relayed to him that he should have, or did he have just a self-realization? You know what? I'm not the head coach of this team.
Right.
I'm going to leave the announcements and proclamations of who the starting quarterback is to that guy.
That's amazing.
That was pretty fun.
That is pretty good. All right. You want to do corners or safeties first?
I don't know. Browns therapy. You've really gotten Browns therapy. He feels like with makeup they could muddy the waters of McConaughey's beauty.
I mean, he'd have the charisma for sure. My fear with him is he's too charismatic. It's too much.
Like if I were to go with adjectives for
Even
this program,
in
charisma would be
True
up there for Jerry Jones.
It is.
I've hung
but
out
it's
with him. Very
too
charismatic.
much. It's too much. I mean, I think McConaughey's even too much. Like even in True Detective, there's still
what McConaughey has that would be a perfect fit is just the shamelessness and the brazenness of his charisma and his.
What I say, the devilish charisma. Yeah. He has that. And Jared has it.
That's an important thing. That's an important
Yeah.
trait that I don't know that can be manufactured. I don't know if that can be.
No, you're born with it. Like, there's no question.
You want to go out there and find a 6'9" guy to have brazen devilish charisma, and I'm saying
Yeah.
I don't know that that's
I don't know
possible.
If that's possible. No.
You got 13 of them on your Rolodex, so see what you can work out.
Really deep Rolodex.
Yeah.
Of 6'9" friends. All right, what do you want to do? Safeties or corners? It's up to you.
Let's do. We'll do the corners.
All right, go.
Because we've got great news. Obviously, Denzel Ward signing the big extension, and so for the Browns, this is a room of tremendous strength and tremendous continuity. And so you look at who are your top corners last year. Well, all four of them are back. Denzel Ward, number one corner. Greedy Williams, former second-round pick who started a bunch of games for you last year. He played very well. Troy Hill, who came in as your starting nickel a year ago, signed from the Rams after leading the NFL 3 defensive touchdowns the year before. Gritty guy, plays the run well. He had an excellent year. And then there's Greg Newsome, who was maybe one of the best rookies in the NFL last season. The 26th overall pick out of Northwestern. He can play outside. He can play inside. So there aren't many teams that are bringing back all of their top four corners, all of who played at a very high level. And I think Greedy stepping in, the interception he had against Minnesota to help seal that victory. I thought he played very, very well, finally healthy, battling back from that shoulder injury. So you've got those four back, and then you also have A.J. Green, who I thought had a very nice season, the former undrafted free agent out of Oklahoma State, who spent time on your practice squad a year before, finally gets in the mix this year, picks off Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to be the last Cleveland Brown to ever intercept Ben Roethlisberger. That's a fact on his resume in that game in Pittsburgh. So this is a room that you feel great about. Your top five are all back because I really think A.J. Green was your fifth corner last year. Think about when he stepped in and played well, had the ridiculous call against them against the Chargers where he's playing great defense on Mike Williams. But all five of those guys are back. And then Herb Miller, who's a second-year player that spent a lot of time on the active roster and the practice squad, he's back. So you've got six guys in that cornerback room right now. You're five. Like, I don't see a corner making the roster that isn't among – if we keep five, like – I feel like we know who those five are, barring an injury. That's a great position to be in if you're the Cleveland Browns.
There can't be too many better situations at corner in the league than
I
this
don't
one.
believe so. No. I mean,
not with this type of depth of talent.
And you have, like, they're all young.
They're
Ward's
all kids.
24. Greg Newsome's 21. A.J. Green is 23. Greedy Williams is 24. I mean, you've got four guys here, and then if you throw Herb Miller, who's your fifth, the only one that's old is Troy Hill's 30. Herb Miller's 24. So of your six corners, five of them are 24 or younger. You've got Newsome, who's going into second year, is 21. I mean, this is a great, great room, a great spot to be for the Cleveland Browns right now. And, of course, you'll always add to this room because you can never have enough corners. But you want to have five that you feel good about. And, like, we have those pre-draft today. That's a great position.
I think if the one guy who – you kind of got a reminder of last year when healthy with what he could be was Greedy. Like he still has a chance to be special. And you think about the idea of drafting in a certain time period, a very short time period, Denzel, Greedy, Newsome. That's pretty ridiculous to have all those guys locked in and now Denzel locked in long term. Really remarkable.
It is incredible. And you think about Greedy, who was a press man corner, but is also a very good cover three corner. We play a ton of cover three. We play a ton of cover four. That takes advantage of his height, his length, his vertical speed. You've got our slots are both guys who are very comfortable going north-south, but also east-west on a lot of the crossing routes when we play some of those combinations, and do play some man when we blitz. And then Denzel's as good as it gets on the outside. So you are loaded in the sense that you have not only the flexibility to play a traditional nickel where you could go two ways, right? In a traditional nickel, you could have Denzel's going to be outside. You're going to have either Greedy outside with Greg inside, or Denzel and Greg outside with Troy Hill inside, or you can play a dime where you could have Denzel and Greedy outside, Newsome and Hill inside. I mean, you can match up with all of these passing attacks in the NFL because both Newsome and Troy Hill also play the run very well. It's an incredible room. It's got incredible coaching with Jeff Howard and Brandon Lynch. They are in great hands in terms of the scheme, in terms of the technician, in terms of the leadership, all of it. This is one of the reasons in the modern NFL you've got to be good at this spot. The Browns are, and we'll get to the safety room. They're darn good there too.
It's really remarkable what's happened. I'm left speechless because you look at the drafting, the acquisition, like the fact that you can go into a draft and you don't need you want to talk about most important possessions of football: quarterback, pass rusher, corner, and then away you go.
Yep.
Whether it's receiver, tackle, whatever. But like to not have to worry about these for a long time, you're going to be able to just draft elite players. Sometimes you don't even have to draft for position of need because there aren't that many. But you're going to be able to consistently buoy this roster over the next few years because of what's happened here the last 3 years. It's stunning and at corner, I think it's really shining through just how strong it is. We'll do the back end coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Waste Recycling, family owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, they'll be part of the family. Visit Rumpke.com to learn more. And now we shift to the safety room as we take a look at things as the guys reporting today. And again, guys, I think at this point we know, but sometimes we just reiterate. Right now, it's not a whole lot going on. They've reported. There are meetings. They're working out.
Sure.
But they're not on a field. You're not missing anything.
Oh, and it's exciting. There's buzz. This is the first official day of the 2022 Cleveland Browns. So that's fun. But there's not a lot to report. Now we'll get to hear from I believe Kevin Stefanski and select players tomorrow. So that'll be fun, and we'll go from there. All right, we're talking safeties now. The back end of this defense. Your top three. Guess what? Same top three from a year ago. So if you think about it, once you get out of the front four,
I might have been in the Bahamas when that happened.
Yeah,
I may have missed. That was sweet getting him back. It made me happy.
This is a real opportunity for Ronnie, and I hope that he can take advantage of it. Coming back to the Browns, I think it surprised a lot of people that he is back with the Browns, but it makes a lot of sense. The guy was a dynamic playmaker 2 years ago. Last year had some struggles here and there, but hopefully he can get back to that form. But you're thinking John Johnson, who was great over the second half of the season a year ago. You're talking about Grant Delpit, who's now going to be in his second year in the league, and I love what Grant Delpit brings to this football team. I think that he's a guy that has an opportunity to be a real star. And now Ronnie's back. Now, the one guy that we haven't talked about that played, I think, a pretty integral role for you in the back end of this defense, especially when there were some injuries, was M.J. Stewart. He's now in Houston. But other than that, your top 5 corners and your top 3 safeties are back. And then Rich LeCount is back as well, who was, the captain at Georgia, a guy incredibly popular in the locker room. He's got to continue to get better, had a nice preseason, but really didn't see much of him in the season last year. And then Nate Metters, who was a first-year player out of UCLA, is on the roster as well, spent time on the practice squad and signed that reserve futures deal. So he is with the Browns. And that's your safety room right now. You got 5 of them in there, but you could run it right now. You could go, you're back, like if you keep 10 DBs, I mean, you could run it right now. You got John, Ronnie, Grant, and LeCount at safety, and then you've got on the 6 corners that are currently here. Now, I think they will add to the room. I could see a middle round draft pick going towards a safety, but I think that for the Browns right now, they're in a very good spot at both of those positions. Very good.
And John was so much better the second half of the season.
He was great the second half of the season
compared to the first, where he was in a more natural position. I do wonder too if this will be the year that Delpit explodes.
I think so.
It feels
I'm
like
excited
it, right?
about it. Yeah. And I know that internally there is a lot of excitement about Grant Delpit and what they think that he can be with the full year under his belt. Saw as he played faster as the year went on. The ability that Grant displayed allowed them to move John closer to the line of scrimmage. As you mentioned, that kind of started with that Cincinnati game. He ended up getting a pick and having his hands on the ball multiple times.
Yeah.
That I think is one of the reasons why this defense took off, and I think it's going to continue to. I mean, over the last 10 games of the season, the defense was elite.
Yep.
I mean, you had the one hiccup in New England. Nothing went your way, but other than that, they were very good. And we've pointed out many times, if we scored 20 points a game as an offense, just 20, we would have been in the playoffs. We would have won our division, but we were not able to do that. And so this is, I think we've addressed the offensive side, but the defensive side, you've got a lot of talent and a lot of talent coming back.
What do you think Joe Woods wants to be in primarily? What grouping?
Nickel and dime.
No, but do you like we talked a lot about the 3 safety look?
Yeah.
That with 1 or 2 linebackers and 3 of those.
I think he wants to. He doesn't do. We haven't done a ton of big nickel, which would be where the third safety plays nickel, which we've seen previously here. He wants to be in either your standard nickel or your dime. So in the dime, it would be.
So from a positional standpoint, in the nickel or dime, it would be Walker, JOK at the linebackers. In the nickel. And it would be the 2 safeties, Delpit and Johnson, and then the corners across.
Which could be 2 ways. It could be Denzel Greedy with Greg inside, or it could be Denzel Greg with Troy inside. So that would be the nickel. The dime would be Walker would probably come out, Owusu Koromoa would stay on, and you'd bring the extra linebacker would be Ronnie playing that third safety, or it could be John if you wanted to get him close to the line of scrimmage, or even Grant on some of those to blitz.
I asked that because I think what it does is it illustrates the versatility that we have at our disposal, and we have a lot.
Yep.
There's a lot of ways that you can skin the cat with this position groupings. And a lot of these guys, folks, whether you're thinking about JOK or Anthony Walker, to Ronnie, to Grant, to John, most of these guys are in a similar build standpoint. They're all similarly size, height, weight, pretty close, about same height. They're all bigger. They're all 6'1", 6'2". They're all 228. I mean, they're all in that vicinity. And you may think this is silly, but it's reality. With the new numerical breakdown of NFL, they're harder to identify.
No doubt about it. They certainly are harder to identify. They look similar. They can move similar. They're able to go around and create different looks. Who's dropping, who's not. Is it middle field open? Is the middle field closed? Are we buzzing somebody blitzing? So, yeah, there's a lot. And what you're looking for, and I remember when we talked to Kurt Warner about it, just that 1 second of post-snap confusion.
Yeah.
If you can cause that 1 second of post-snap confusion, you have an opportunity to make a big play on defense, and that's what the Browns are certainly going to try to do. And I think this back end of this D is as talented as any back end in the league, honestly.
I agree.
I mean, it's in the discussion. If it's not the most talented, it's absolutely in the discussion for that. That's why we need to get
deeper at the very least. There's no way that there's one deeper than this one in the back end.
Where people feel that good about their top 8 DBs, I don't know that there would be. I really don't.
I mean, your third safety is Ronnie Harrison.
Yep. Which is good. Now,
That's pretty good.
Now, again, Ronnie's got a lot to prove, right? We've saw flashes of greatness, but we've seen it in 2020. We saw a tremendous season from Ronnie Harrison. I hope we could see more of it because I liked it.
I mean, your third and fourth corner is Greedy and Troy Hill. Like, it's just an incredible
ridiculous. Yes.
Depth at the position. And defensively, it really just comes down to it's a pretty straightforward thing, and it's just, do you get somebody opposite Miles? And then you need one more guy in the middle. Probably you're going to add a couple of guys, but you need somebody opposite Miles, and hopefully that's Jadeveon. If that's Jadeveon Clowney and you get somebody in the middle, that defense has got everything you need.
Well, so then you get Clowney, you get Winovich in a passing, and let's say we drafted an edge, a stud in the second round, one who can have inside-outside versatility. Heck, we could go with some. This is the thing people I don't think are thinking about. In third down, obviously, there's no reason why we can't play 4 DNs. Put them all out there together.
Yeah.
You can kick Miles in. You can kick Clowney in. You can kick maybe one of the guy that we draft in. If it's Logan Hall, if it's a Drake Jackson, guys who have that inside-out, Josh Pascal, who have that inside-out versatility. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're getting after you. Our corners can play. We've got linebackers, safeties who can run and cover. Like, we should be very difficult to deal with. And we're built both offensive. I think offensively we're built to be incredibly explosive. We're built to hold a lead because of our ability to be able to run the ball. And you're still going to have to play light boxes because if you don't, we have the most accurate passer in the history of the league throwing the football. So you try to play zones and stack the box, or we're going to beat you that way. And then our defense is built to pin its ears back and get after you. We still need some more talent up front, but on the back end, I think it is tremendous.
Jeremy Renner for young Jera. I've never heard him do a Southern accent. The look would be similar.
Yeah, I could see that.
Jared passing that along to us.
I mean, he's tremendous in. I really enjoyed his work in all the Marvel films, and he was just in.
Well, he's incredible in The Town.
Hawkeye, you loved him in The Town.
Love him in The Town. Yeah, he's good as Hawkeye. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the Southern. You got to have that Southern devilish charisma.
But he's kind of got the face.
He's got the face. Yeah,
he's got the face. Good call. I like that. We'll explore that.
We'll workshop that.
Yeah,
we'll workshop that.
Who are getting to back us on this? Is this our production? Have we just come up with this?
Well, we're going to need source material, and I think actually the guy who did the Showtime book, Jeff Pearlman, I believe he wrote a book on this era of Cowboys.
There you go.
So there you go.
There you go.
Feels like that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one you
The Niners would be an interesting one with DeBartolo and all the craziness.
What era?
That decade.
Like, because you'd want to see
because Bill Walsh and then Joe and then Joe getting thrown out for Steve Smith. For Steve Young. Yeah, I wish it was Steve Smith. I'd be happier about that.
When did the DeBartolos buy the Niners? Because you'd want I think that's what's cool about this is the ascent of it.
So he bought the Niners 23 he owned the Niners for 23 years, 5 Super Bowls in 14 years. Let's see, when did he buy them? That should be the first thing. In 91, he agreed to sell the Penguin. That's not it.
That ain't it.
Nope.
Youngstown guy.
Career, blah, 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 blah.
DeBartolo.
And during his 1977. So
Okay,
the Niners
go.
won an unprecedented 5 Super Bowls. You got Walsh.
So that would probably be the hiring of Walsh.
Yeah.
Is what that would be. And he was the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati under Sam Weish.
Yeah.
That would probably be the
move.
You'd pick it up there. The drafting of a smallish quarterback out of Notre Dame in the 3rd round. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of good ones there. Let's cast one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
One at a time. We'll cast one at a time. Still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. What do we got tomorrow? We've got some availability. We got some players. We got Coach. You'll be monitoring this. I will be in the Southland tomorrow. I'm sorry.
I know, man.
To inform.
It's like we're never all together. It's very sad, but hopefully we will be again. We will be again
soon.
Shortly.
Soon.
Tomorrow, yeah, we've got Coach Stefanski's going to address the media, some players. I believe we will have a player in studio for everybody, and we'll get to casting our next big series. It's going to be a huge success.
Another huge success we're going to cast. I look forward to that. I look forward to that with you and Gibbe breaking down the casting the next series.
That's going to pause until you return.
Yeah.
Pause until you return.
When will there be some That's a good one. The right-hand guy from Game of Thrones to play Jerry, like Khaleesi's right-hand man, until he wronged her.
Which one? The first one who was cool, or the second one who was a little dweeb?
No, not her. Not like that guy. The guy who was like her, who was with her the whole way, and then he betrayed her. Remember?
Jorah Mormont?
Yeah, that guy.
I mean, okay,
British dude.
Very, yeah. He has a sense of regality about him.
Yeah, there is.
There's no doubt.
90.
I like all of it. Let's go.
Kyrie Irving got paid $50,000 for saying you're number one to a Clippers fan. For rather
Celtics.
not saying, but non-verbally saying you're number one to a Celtics fan. Kyrie Irving $50,000 for that. Didn't Eli Manning do that? And I don't remember. Did he get fined?
I don't remember if he did or not.
Yeah.
I feel like Rodgers.
By the
did.
way, I've never liked Kyrie more than when he played here, than when he leaned into it.
Oh, me too. Is that
I'm for
tonight?
that.
Is game 2 tonight?
No, I think
What?
No, it's that crazy thing where you know how they do the first round. It's like 4 days between games stuff.
What?
But-
What?
I think it's like Wednesday.
Oh man, I was like super excited to see it, to watch that today. That's
No.
actually I was gonna make sure I was able to see it.
You're gonna catch up on winning time. I think is what you're gonna do. Yeah, tonight you've got Hawks Heat, you've got Timberwolves and Grizzlies, and you've got that'll be fun. But that one's on NBA
Weren't
TV.
Hawks, Heat, and New Orleans, Phoenix the same day as?
Yeah, but they're gonna want to make sure that they're
Celts.
gonna time it up to where Celtics Nets plays next Sunday too. So they'll probably play them Wednesday, and they'll play Game 3 in Brooklyn on Sunday. Pelicans Suns in the late game. Let's see.
Man.
Yeah, Nets Celts is tomorrow at 7. That'll be and with the TNT crew, you get Chuck with that. That's gold.
All right.
That's going to be very, very good. All right, we are back tomorrow. The next level is coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.